change.
Alright, bottles on me, long as someone drink it. Never drop the ball, fuck it y'all thinking. Making sure the young money ship is never sinking. About to set it up.
What do you remember about playing him when you guys were on the floor and he was guarding you and you were guarding him, and they had, I'm sure, some terrific shootouts over the years between just the two of you?
You know, looking back over 18 years, you'd have thought that Michael and I, the Bulls and the Pacers, would have played more than once in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We only played once, and it was that epic 7-game series. You're measured by your competition. He is clearly, and in my opinion, the best basketball player I've ever seen to date. And I knew that I had to bring it each and every time I stepped on the court when I was going against MJ.
Were you friends?
No.
Now Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller having a go at it. And I mean, we got fist throwing. Here come the benches. Bo Hill is out there. Bill Jackson's going out there. There'll be fines handed out all over the place here. But more importantly, what in the world ignited this?
We weren't friends.
Talk to each other on the floor?
He might have been the one player I didn't talk to.
Really?
Yeah. Because he might have been the one player who could really embarrass you.
And he could come back at you pretty good too.
Yeah, he could come right back at you. I wanted what he had. Him being the best, the championships. So I watched, I listened, and I tried to learn a lot by playing against him.
And what did you learn? What a couple things you took away from what he did or how he played or how he acted?
He is cut from the same mold as Magic Johnson. And when I say that, and Larry Bird, all three of those players, win by any means necessary. And they will do whatever it takes on the court to win a game.
And you adopted that.
I tried to adopt that, yeah. You had to be textbook when you played the Bulls and you played against Michael.
You know, Reg, it's interesting because I think when you think of Jordan, you think about the dunks. You were a shooter.
Our games were vastly contrast. You know? His was more power, dunking. Mine was more shooting, finesse. But for some reason, I think my style at times irritated him because I was in constant motion. He used his power to control players and to keep them where he wanted them.
He had great torque.
Yes, he did.
Just the way
and let me say this about Michael. Probably, if not one of the smartest basketball players. You know, you talk about his ability to be athletic and all that, but he was a very smart basketball player.
He thought the game through.
Yes.
You thought the game through.
And he knew what your weaknesses were, and he tried to exploit them.
Don't want to wake him up.
This is a fun game for me.
Everybody's talking about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Oh, well, this is the matchup that everybody's been waiting to see.
I learned a lot this game. A lot about how technically sound Michael was. Because it's one thing in watching him play, and then it's another thing in playing against him.
He's now in a postgraduate course.
Yeah, boy. Accelerated learning.
His technique was flawless. I wanted to make sure my technique was just as flawless.
Been down at half court, and he wanted to know how, when I turn around on my jump shot, how to feel the defense. I told him you should feel the defense with your legs. Once you feel the defense with your legs, you can take advantage of that.
That was very inspiring for me.
I remember talking to Michael about his motivation every night. And he used to say that maybe there was somebody in the stands that never had a chance to see me play for the first time. And I want to make sure that they go home and they see the best of me.
Do you think LeBron James is up there with the greatest players of all time?
Yes. I will, depends on how you see, because according to the position that he plays, when people start comparing him with Jordan, then that's not a fair comparison. Because Jordan is far more superior player, and a very, very tough league, and very, very very creative.
Sure.
I mean, that's not taking anything away from LeBron James because he's a great player, but it's not a fair comparison because I think Jordan is much far superior player.
I score that many baskets and they lose, but I know we started Dennis Johnson out on him, and then we went with Danny Ainge, myself, which it was really easy then when I started guarding him. Then Bill Walton, and we was trying to run him to help all the time, but he had his outside shot going so well that he really didn't need to penetrate that much.
Got it! 63 for Jordan!
You and Jordan were the two best wing players of that era. What was it like to compete against him?
Oh, he's a phenomenal competitor. You know, when you love the game and you play to compete, when you play players like that, you don't have to do anything to get up for the game. You're so psyched. The moment I wake up, I'm ready.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's hard playing the teams that are a little subpar or players who, you know, you don't have to get a whole lot of rest for.
Yeah.
But players you know are good, I mean, that's what you live for. So it was a treat.
that 90, was it 92 when you guys played them in the finals?
We played the Bulls in 92. I think that was my 9th or 10th year in the league.
Yeah.
And it was a good final. Bulls had a really good team. I think they ended up winning like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The storyline became that Jordan was going at you. Did you finish ahead of him in MVP? It was some.
It was a battle for MVP voting that year, and
who won it that year?
He won it
He
that
did
year.
win it,
I
but
think
it was
I came
close.
in second.
Yeah, it was close.
Very close. Very close.
Did you take it as, was it a personal matchup with you and Jordan? Not just that finals, but in general when you guys met each other. But because you were the two best at your position, did you feel like it was personal battle every time you faced him?
Well, Chris, you know, when you're a competitor, I mean, we weren't enemies. I know he's going to come at me, and guess what? He knows I'm coming at him.
Yeah.
I'm going to play my game. If you get in my way, I'm going to knock your nose off.
Yeah.
Same way with him. We're going to compete. But really, it comes down to your teammates. How good is your team?
Is LeBron entering Michael Jordan territory?
LeBron James is a great player. He's a great player in this era, but he's not Michael Jordan. You know, it's two different animals. Michael was a killer. He's an assassin. You know, LeBron is more of a facilitator. He's the guy that you're gonna give the ball, and he's thinking shoot first before pass. Where Michael, you give him the ball, he's thinking he's gonna score 50 on you, and then he's gonna pass.
January 16th, 1993, still your rookie year. You guys are in Chicago playing the Bulls. It's a big moment. These are the defending champs, back-to-back champs.
Puts it up, Ian counted, and he's fouled. Michael, quick turnaround, and he hit it.
I remember that Mike is killing us, but we're close. You know, when you see the light at the end of the tunnel, you go for it. Damn, I'm about to beat Michael Jordan.
What was that locker room like when you pull off an OT win like that, come from behind on the road?
Everybody was happy, especially Nick, because he was from Chicago. It was great. And again, it was a great confidence booster.
Michael Jordan's going off. He ended up with 64 points. What is the team talking about? What do you remember about it?
Before the game, I was terrified, but to relieve pressure off that, I ain't got to guard him, so I'm not worried. Second thing I said, I can't let him dunk on me. That's not going to happen. So it was a play when he comes baseline.
Jordan turns and faces. Shot clock at 7, 6, and whoa! Shaquille, that might really hit him hard.
I had to touch him up. Because one, I'm not getting dunked on because I'll never live that down from family members, homeboys, barbershops. That'll be a poster forever because Mike was the man at the time. But Mike also taught me something very valuable. So when I go to help him up, he said, don't ever help nobody up. Great foul. Don't do that. I don't need your help. But I'm coming back, don't you worry. Mike is the guy that taught me how to go to the next level. Down the line, we beat them in the East Conference Finals, go to the finals, we get swept by Kanye and them. The next year, they sweep us. Walking off the court, Mike grabs me and says, before you succeed, you must first learn to fail. And that helped me out when I made the move to LA and kept failing, and it came to the point where we got a win.
So, John, you faced Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan a combined 101 times.
Was it that many?
So the only player who played Michael more in the playoffs was Isaiah Thomas. So here's what Michael said about you in retrospect. He said, I love John Starks. He was really a competitor. He really tried to challenge me. But I think that he knew when he was guarding me, he was overmatched. What did you think of Michael Jordan and of Reggie Miller?
Oh, man. Obviously, Michael is the greatest in my book. been able to play him and growing up watching him play in college, you know, and getting the opportunity to play him, you know, while I was in pros was a highlight of my career. You know, one thing about him, and Antonio can probably attest to, is just his will to win. I think that's what made him so great. And, you know, you already know when you're going into a game against Michael Jordan and a Michael Jordan team that you had to play your very best in order to beat him. And some point in that game, you know that he's going to take over the game. And you have to be able to play him as hard as possible. I always say, you know, my mentality was when I took the court against Michael Jordan is that I'm going to go out there and make him work for every single point. And that's what I tried to do. You know, you couldn't stop him. And all you can do is just try to frustrate him, and hopefully that was enough. But normally that wasn't enough. But, you know, like I say, just going out and competing against him every single day, you know, lift my game up to a whole another level. And most guys that played against him enjoy that aspect of playing against him because you know that he was going to come at you every single night. He's probably one of the few players that you can say was on top of his game every single night. You know, and when he wasn't on top of his game, he hitting you for 30. And when he was on top of his game, like he was a couple of nights, he hit you for 55. So people say, did you ever talk noise against Michael Jordan? I never talked noise against Michael Jordan because you don't want to wake him up.